Just like how you have your regular team level ceremonies, the inner Eclipse has all the team level ceremonies, right? You all are familiar. Daily stand-ups, that is where you ask the 3 questions. What did you do yesterday to advance iteration goals? What are you doing today to advance iteration goals? And what are the impediments you have in advancing the iteration goals? The entire Agile team comes together and they discuss what they have done. And if there are any kind of parking lot items or any deeper discussion, they will reserve it for the meet after. They also do their iteration planning, where they the outcomes of iteration planning is looking at the backlog. They identify what will be the capacity for the team. They will load up how many stories they will be working or what stories they'll be working. And then eventually they come up with what is called the iteration goals. And those goals are what will be executed through that iteration for the team. Then the iteration retrospectives, which happens at the very end, is where you're asking those 3 questions. What went well for that iteration, what did not go well, and what actions the team can take to make it better, and what can be preserved in the process. Iteration review, which happens at the end of the iteration, is when you are looking at how all those iteration goals you have you completed those things. You'll have a demo at the end of the iteration. We'll also look at metrics, ensure that everything what you planned for that iteration is delivered in the process. If the certain things are not delivered, you look at why they are not delivered and what are the reasons for not delivering those things. Backlog refinement, you do it regularly every week so that you ensure that you have a healthy backlog. And in the process, you are ensuring that whatever stories which are needed for the next iteration planning is planned properly. These are all what happens at the team level. So just like that, at what you do at the team level ceremonies, you also have what is called art ceremonies. Those include PI planning. PI planning is what happens at the start of the PI. Before you start the next PI, you have a 2-day planning where the entire cross-domain, 50 to 125 people come together, and all these 5 to 12 teams, they work and ensure that what they are planning for next 8 to 12 weeks, especially taking the vision and top 10 features as the input, and they come up with 2 outputs. One is the program board, which has all the dependencies. And then they also come up with what is called PI objectives. And these will become a source of input for teams when they're planning their iterations as they're getting into iteration execution. In the next 10 to 12 weeks, the Agile release train will have multiple other events also. One such event is called Art Sync, which comprises of 2 sub-events, which is Scrum of Scrum. SOS meetings are facilitated by the release train engineer and attended by all Scrum Master. That is where these folks discuss about what are those things which are kind of causing the train not to be on track or is deviating, or if there is any impediments, they'll discuss that. And also they'll ensure that the train is on track and making sure that everything what is planned is going as per what has been set up at the start of the PI. If something is deviating, they'll go for replanning and make sure that they can support that. The PO sync is where product manager, who is a chief product owner, he facilitates, and he can sometimes delegate it to release train engineer, and the product owners participate and they discuss about the content or scope and ensure that whatever has been planned, and if there are any changes to that, if customer needs any deviation on it, they can at least bring that to that discussion. They can ensure that those are taken into consideration also. System demo happens at the end of every iteration and also at the end of the PI also, so that this integrated demo where the entire Agile release train comes together to view the demo to ensure that whatever has been planned is successfully implemented, and the customer is present there to give feedback. And if there is any interdependency issues, they'll be discussed and resolved in that process. And the PI planning preparation takes a lot of effort, where that is where the teams work together. The product manager and the epics which have been the vision which has been created, the product manager picks it up and then try to decompose them into features and works with the product owners to take those features and then help them to decompose them into the stories, and also identifies what is the vision for that product, for that PI, and also the features which are needed for that PI. The inspect and adapt event, which happens at the end of the PI, in the fifth iteration, in the innovation and planning iteration, that is where you do three things. First, you look at what is called PI system demo. That is the integrated demo for the entire art. The whole art, 50 to 125 people will look at that and ensure that is what is planned. They do quantitative measurements, and also they'll do qualitative measurements, and they'll also do what is called problem solving workshop. They'll identify what issues they have, and then they'll try to go for a problem solving workshop. And that is where they'll try to identify the root causes. What are those biggest root causes using Pareto analysis? And in turn, they'll also identify the solutions so that they can add them back to their backlog.
Sprint is coming from the Scrum world, Scrum Alliance, Scrum.org and all. Iteration is coming from the XP world, right? XP came even before SAFe came in. So in SAFe, we choose to use the terms iteration, not sprint. There is a reason for that. Number one, there is a political reason, because they have their own scaling framework. Also, less is their scaling framework. And the other reason is that you can be a safe agile team without using Scrum. So I don't want to use Scrum, but I can still be safe agile team. So that's why we choose to use iterations. But absolutely, there is no difference. It's a time box. Time box of through 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Sprint and iteration is one and the same.